Morning. It's about 3:30 in the morning and I'll upload this later. I thought I'm on my way to the bus stop. I'm going for a hike this morning and get some exercise. I think it will do something for my morale. So you can watch me bounce around in the dark as I'm doing this. And I thought I would make a short video. I thought I would talk about families once again. Oh, I'm going by a street light so you can see me a little bit. Let's see now. Oh, I was talking about my sisters. I thought I'd talk about them. They were very bubbly. They had each other to talk to. They were really close. And it was because they would brush each other's hair religiously and the thing of it is they all had long hair. So, and when you have long hair, the only way to make it look good is to brush it every night and get all the snags and stuff out of it. But they would talk about everything, and they were very bubbly and cheerful. And that's the kind of family my mother came from, and she wanted it for her kids, and she cultivated that kind of atmosphere where that kind of thing could exist. Now, now there are these girls that are sort of leaders these days. You find them in their communities, and they're these girls that are very catty, and they're the fashion police. They make fun of all the girls that don't wear the same clothes, that are in style or in vogue, or maybe they aren't as pretty or as what's the style of what we think of as pretty at present day. So, and they're girls like that. But my sisters were leaders, and they were intelligent. They got good grades. And I think one of the things that really set them apart, why they were so popular, they were really popular, wasn't just because they were pretty, and they were prettier girls, but they were considerate, and they were considerate, and it was because of, they were considerate to each other. They were considerate to my mom. They were considerate to other people. And people really liked them. Their teachers liked them. One thing you learn when you're in, you're talking and walking fast at the same time, you get out of breath. Anyway, when teachers like you, what happens is they realize that they want you to do better. And when you're friendly with them, and they were the kind of kids that would make friends with their teachers and adults. And what they do is they make sure that you get good grades. They go to you and they say, you don't really know what's going to be on the test, and you're not good at this. You need to sharpen up on this subject, or there's some facts here that you keep overlooking, and you need to work on those. And they make sure that you get good grades. That's the kind of girls my sisters. That's why they got good grades. Because the teachers liked them and they took a special interest in and it was because they took a special interest in other people. Now, my sisters were really popular, and it was because everybody really liked them, because they were nice. It wasn't because they were catty and they were the fashion police. Now, let's see, around the time that I gotta remember to hop over everything. I'm going across the railroad tracks and the curbs here. I gotta remember to hop, or else I'm in the twilight zone again. So, anyway, what was I gonna say? Gotta remember to hop. I'll tell you what, hopping is more important than remembering what I'm gonna say right now, because I don't want to be in the twilight zone. See, I'm trying to cross the street here. Very little traffic, so I'll hop here, and I'll hop here, and then you people, I'll be anally raped in some virtual reality room, and maybe you'll never see me again, or I'll be a kook, or I'll be a nut, or an anal rapist myself. Hop again when I get out. So it's more important to hop. Now let's see. Let's see. They were really popular, and let's see. They were really popular. And, yes, there was the other thing was they started bringing all these boys home. All when they were teenagers, all the boys wanted to know my sisters. And, let's see, now one of my sisters was dating this boy that went to this elite prep school. It was only maybe 12 miles away. And he was a very interesting young man, and my father was very impressed with him and his scholastic achievements. And he thought, why can't we send our daughters to this school? He figured out what the tuition was. Why can't we send them? And they just turned co-ed. They were a boys' school. And they just turned co-ed. So my sister started going. My two next eldest sisters started going to this prep school. And anyway, my people would... it wasn't just because they were good, but they were popular. I mean, all the boys wanted to be around them, and all the girls did too, and there were people that would just follow them around all over the place. And my sister Amy, I don't think she realized it. She didn't really realize what was going on. She didn't know that she was the most popular girl in the school, but everybody wanted to be around her, and wherever she went, there were always these people following her around. I mean, like a group of people. And we had a station wagon. And when they got to the age, my sisters got to the age that they could drive, then they would drive themselves to school. And what had happened is they would bring all these boys home from school. And my dad, the other thing that was really interesting, this school is a really good school. I mean, what they do is they try to, we should all be excited about getting educated. They do things like they give you all these opportunities at this school. Let's see, I want to go this way. Don't forget to hop. Going over the railroad tracks. Hop. They give you all these opportunities. And all these boys, they were all distinguished. They would all distinguish themselves in some field, anything. They would distinguish themselves scholastically, or just all these opportunities to, let's see, name some of them. They had competitions. They had literature competitions. They had they would read classics and they would understand them. They would read, I took a course in speech, how to give speeches. Let's see, and the school there were all these national competitions in the United States, and international competitions, scholastic competitions, all different kinds of competitions. Competitions in music, competition in music composition, competitions in music instrument, if you can play an instrument, competitions in just about anything. I was in a competition for reciting German poetry, all kinds of things. And they expose you to all these things. Sports competitions. A friend of mine, a good buddy of mine, was in fencing, and there were these international. There were sometimes international, but there were these national competitions among fencers. And what had happened is there was a coach in the school who was also an English teacher who really knew how to fence, and these kids would go up against really distinguished people who were adults, who were expert fencers, and sometimes they would do well. They would do well against them. I mean, they would be really surprised because these kids would beat them, and they were adults, they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, all these kids, and all these boys were coming to our house, and they were so interesting. And my dad would it was just exciting that, his daughters would bring home these interesting young men. And of course, now my sisters, what they would like to do is women are like this. They'll, even from an early age, they would like to make these boys wait. And what it is my dad would just love it. He'd have them downstairs and he'd be talking to them for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. And he loved it because they were such interesting young men. They had so many interesting things to say and ideas. And it's just an interesting, what a wonderful time to be a teenager and be learning things and have all kinds of things going on in your life and distinguishing yourself and learning what your talents are. That's what those times should really be about. It's not about, and we're all bad at certain things, and we need to pay attention to certain things. And there's some people that have less talents and stuff like that. But this leaving a child behind, it's not really leaving a child behind. It's reducing everyone to the lowest level of the lowest achievers. And what we should be doing, I mean, if we were all brought to the highest level that we could go, then we'd be able to lift up the lower achievers for whatever reason. Maybe they're mentally retarded, it's no fault of their own, or they just not born with the same talents. The world would be a better place, if we all try to develop our talents and be the best we can become. That's what we should be doing, and we should have like an enthusiasm for let me look at this thing. I've got many more minutes till I run out of space. We should be excited about our education and bringing out. And I tell you, kids, when kids are in school and stuff, and they say, "Well, it's time to learn this. It's time to have this test. It's time to do this. It's time to do that. We have to do this thing," and all the kids just groan, But in homeschooling and environments like that, a lot of times you find kids that are excited. What are we going to learn? And the other thing is, like, a lot of times if you find that you really like something and you're enjoying it, that might be what your talents are, and that's something you should develop. And you need somebody to to help you develop them. Like an older person that's already has those talents that developed. Let's see, I hope everybody can hear me. I'm going to get really close to this thing. This image truck is going by. I don't know whether you can hear it or not. Anyway, now I wanted to talk about big families and stuff like that. Now, my mother came from a big family. And what are some of the things, the benefits? Now, a lot of people feel like... when you get old, you're just going to be miserable. You're not as healthy, and you, okay, this image sign says the bus stop is moved. I got to make sure I go to the right place here. But you're going to be miserable. And the other thing is, you're not as sexually attractive anymore, and you're probably not going to enjoy sexual intercourse anymore, or any of your old joys of life. Nobody's seeking after you, or nobody wants to be around you. Actually, the truth of the matter is, if you live right, your life can get better and better and better. And what is it? When you get old, you're infirm, and when you're young, you're an infant. They both start with in. Infant and infirm. And when you're an infant, you're in fantasy. You're dreaming of what your life is going to be. And when you're infirm, your life is firm. It's like it's if you've lived a good life, everything that everything you look back on is firm in your mind because it's happened. You know what it is. It's reality. It's real. And what it is when you're young, you can look forward and you can look at what your life can be. When you're old, you can look back on it and you can remember the happy times. My dad, shortly before he died, we were having a conversation. Not too long before he died, we had a conversation, and he was telling me about he often had this thought about this one thought, these thoughts when he was before he was about to drift off to sleep, and he would spend, like when he was young and he was working really, really hard and he had very little time to spend with us, he would take us on these skiing vacations. And of course his dad would take him to the same vacation when he was young. It'd be in Franconia, New Hampshire, and it would be a skiing vacation, downhill skiing. And of course, downhill skiing is a great thrill. Many people never get involved with it. And I think it's like $200 for ski tickets. We were amazed when the ski tickets, when we were kids, when my parents, the tickets went up from $12 to $14. and we just thought that was outrageous. But cross country skiing is a really good thing, and I enjoy that a lot more. And all you have to do is buy the equipment, and you can do it anywhere you've got snow. So that's a really good thing to do. If you like, and it's really good exercise, and it's really fun too. But downhill skiing is sort of a real thrill because of all the speed and everything, and kids really love it. But anyway, we would do that, and my dad, he would take us out. See, he didn't think we would enjoy it because we were kids, and they didn't want to take us on it. And I went to so they would leave us with our grandparents, and we didn't want to stay with our grandparents. We wanted to go with my mom and dad and my sisters. We were the three younger ones, myself and my three little sisters. And let's see, what time is it? I've got plenty of time. Okay, so my dad likes to tell the story. It's taking a long time, but anyway, so he took us, and my dad, and I was telling my dad, well, how do you know we won't like it? How do you know that we won't have a good time? And he thought about that, and he thought, and he thought, well, maybe they will have a good time. So he took us on the ski vacation. Anyway, the mountain, it was Cannon Mountain, and it's most of the ski the mountains, I guess I'll let this story go a long time because it's a good story. Maybe you people enjoy it. Anyway, I found the bus stop. So anyway, we go down so Cannon Mountain, it's this wonderful mountain. I think it's the same way it used to be. Most of the ski resorts, the slopes are really wide. So what it is like it's really easy. But if at Cannon Mountain, there's these really narrow trails. And what it is you have to stay on the trail or you're going in the woods. And you don't want to go in the woods because you're going to hit a tree. And if you're going really fast, you don't want to go into a tree. People get hurt all the time. You're always seeing people there's a ski patrol, and they have these sleds where they cart people off who get injured. And you don't want to be one of those people. It happens all the time. Anyway, we're going, and what it is, the higher you go up the mountain, the more difficult the slopes are. And I was getting to the age where, I was really enthusiastic about skiing. I loved it. I mean, all the speed and everything. I would just crouch down. I think I was 8 years old. I was just a kid. I was little. But I loved it. It's a great thrill, skiing. So, and my dad, he didn't get to spend much time with us. He really looked forward to these skiing vacations. And so anyway, my dad decided one day, okay, Robert, you're ready to go up to the top of the mountain. And I was, well, all right, let's go, Dad, okay, And we went up to the top, and we went down a few slopes. We went down a few of my dad's favorite slopes, and he can remember doing this when he was young with his dad. And so anyway, there was this one area where you had to go through, where you had to like gain speed because you had to go uphill a little bit, and if you didn't really gain speed, you're going to have to walk up the hill and to get down to the other trails and get down the mountain. Let me see which time I got on this. I've got plenty of time. So anyway, and my dad wanted me to go first because he was afraid. See, the thing is, it was so narrow. My dad was afraid I was going to go off into the woods, and because I was just a beginning skier and I didn't have much control. And the other thing was, I was so excited. I wasn't thinking anything about getting hurt. I mean, when you're a kid, you don't think you're going to get hurt. You're just thinking about all the fun you're having. So I went through this shush, and what happened was I took a fall. I mean, I took a big fall, and my dad said that when he saw it, he was wondering whether this whole thing was just a mistake. Like taking us on the skiing vacation, he was wondering, whether I was going to be in the hospital or not. And he said there was just this cloud of snow, and he couldn't see anything. He just the tips of some skis and ski poles sticking out everywhere. And I fell into the woods, and I was in the other thing. thing about it is, like, this is up high in the mountains where the snow is deep, and when you get off the trail where the snow isn't packed down, the snow is really puffy and you sink really deep into it. And my skis had fallen off and I was sinking deeply into the snow and flailing around and trying to find my skis. And my dad skied up there, and he thought, he was pretty relieved to see that I was in one piece and struggling to get around. I mean, I was obviously okay. And okay, we got a couple image cars going by here. So he says to me, "Robert, are you okay? Are you sure you want? Are you okay?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, Dad, are we going to go up again?" You know. He said that just gave him a real kick in the pants. He talks about that all the time. I mean, like, that we were really tough. That he was so happy that he had taken the time to take us on this trip, and I made the decision to. He was very worried about me, and at the same time, he was very happy that I was okay and that I was still having a great time. So anyway, you have all these memories when you get old, and even though, like, you see a lot of people that are old and they might not be doing anything, but they have, like, many happy memories, and if you've lived right. And now the other thing you have, I noticed my mom, she doesn't talk about it much, but occasionally she talks about her brothers and sisters. And what it is, oh my gosh, I think I lost my bus pass. Here comes a bus. I think that's my bus. I don't really know. I got to check if I check the thing, my bus coming number 7, I think that's my bus. Anyway, they once in a while they talk to you, and they don't talk about it much. They don't talk about each other much. But occasionally I see them visiting with each other, and I overhear their conversations. So I hear them talking and so forth. Let me see what time it is here. We got the image. Well, this is a real bus probably. Let's see. 347. Not going to open. Yes, are we going to 44th Street? Okay. Let's see. So anyway, they rarely talk to each other. They don't like us to see them talking to each other. They don't talk much about their conversations with each other. But I see them occasionally. I see them occasionally speaking to each other. And I hope you can hear me okay. They got this imaged bus over here. It's probably an imaged bus because it's not my bus. Anyway, but what they do is they brag on us. I've seen them, they brag on their kids. And now, one thing that people don't like other people to do is brag. And my dad, I mean, he would celebrate we would be around the dinner table, and he would just celebrate anything that we'd accomplish, how proud he was of us. And nobody likes to see that. Nobody likes to see anybody bragging about anything, really. But when it's your brother, when it's your kids, when it's your nieces and nephews, or your brother's kids, or somebody that's close to you, you feel a certain amount of pride yourself. You have a certain amount of joy yourself when you see your nieces and nephews are accomplishing things, and it's not offensive. You're really happy to see it. And my mom and they get together, but they don't like to do it in front of us because it makes us self-conscious. I mean, a lot of times when you see your parents bragging on you, or bragging on your sister, you might think. Well, how do I measure up? Do I measure up? Am I as worthwhile? Or they don't want you to be too proud of yourselves either. But the other thing, your parents, they conceive you, and one thing they conceive you to do, which is kind of neat, is they can conceive you to surprise them. they can conceive you to amuse them. They can conceive you to do things that they don't even know what you're going to do. I mean, you think that, like, if they're conceiving you, they have the spirit of prophecy. But they don't. They don't know everything about it. And what happens is your kids, they can be a great source of amusement for you. Just the things they do and the things you hear about them, the things they accomplish. Every time I would call up my dad, before he died, or my mom, they would tell me about things that, that their kids or grandkids were doing and that are interesting or fun, and it's a great joy, to be older. If you've lived right, life just gets better and better, and your relationships deepen. Like my mother's relationship with her brother and sisters, deepens. I mean, and it's really exciting to get together and talk about your kids and the things that they're doing. One of my aunts, one of her son, he just says funny things a lot of times, and sometimes she just gets a real kick out of the things that he'll say, and she'll talk to my mom about it. I overhear them saying, and what a wonderful thing it is to have a family. Wonderful thing it is to have a big family, and to have grandkids or nieces and nephews. I love my nieces and nephews. And I love hearing about them. I love knowing what's going on in their lives. Anyway, so that was what I wanted to talk about. It's a really wonderful thing having a family. It's something many people. It's just a wonderful thing, and it's something you can have if you live right. You look forward to. Don't we all want our parents to be proud of us? Yeah, don't we all want to live a way that we're proud of? So I would say to young people, try to. I would say, you got bodies. You came to this earth. When they talk about the church, they say over and over again, your temple blessings. Keep your temple covenants. And tell people that you're going to temple. One of the things that it says when you're telling people that you're going to the temple, that you're committed to it, is you're saying, I'm gonna get married. I want to get married. I want to have a family. I'm gonna get married. There's so many young people. It's like, what are you gonna do with your life? Well, I don't know. I'm not really planning on anything. Well. And there are other people, that say, I'm going to get married. That's what I want to do in my life. That's an important thing to me. So, anyway, my bus is coming. I don't know if that's my bus or not. Let's see. Now, the thing was supposed to come. What time is it supposed to come? I don't know. I don't think that's my bus. Well, maybe it is. Let's see. I can keep talking on the bus. Let's see. Number 1. If I was looking at my bus thing, of course, if I turn my bus app on, I'm not going to have the camera app. You're going out to 44th?
On Van Buren?
44th?
In Van Buren?
44th Avenue.
Avenue's that way. Street.
44th Street.
Yeah, 44th Street in Van Buren, no.
So you're not going to 44th?
I go to 44th Street, but it's not on Van Buren.
Yeah, I know. Nothing like no confusion. Let's see. Okay, so anyway, that's what's going on. And so I would say, be chaste. Your family relationship's the most important thing, and you're going to have less problems. See, the thing is, if you're chaste, it's something you're doing for everybody. It's so everybody can have a happy family, a happy sexual life, a happy family life. It's not a secret. I'm telling you this, so it won't be a secret. This is what it's all built upon. So you want your parents to be proud of you. Do something for everybody. Learn to be chaste. Learn to not get into a sexual relationship before you're married. Before you're, don't have kids before you're married, and be a success. You know, make your parents proud of you. God bless you. I love you. That's why I'm telling you this.